Hey everyone, Bill Sheridan with the Maryland Association of CPAs and the Business Learning Institute, and it is now official. Maryland CPAs are taking over the profession. We've got Kimberly Ellison Taylor, who is in line to become the first Maryland CPA to serve as chair of the American Institute of CPAs. And now we've got Jina Etienne, who has taken the reins as president and CEO of the National Association of Black Accountants. That comes after a 4-year stint in which she served as a director of taxation for the AICPA's tax section. I had a chance to speak with Jina recently about what she hopes to accomplish at NABA. Here's what she had to say.
You know, I didn't see that one coming, moving to NABA, but the opportunity came up and it seemed to just click. I see it as twofold. I've never been a member, and the board said they wanted change. I like to drive change. I can sometimes be a bit of a troublemaker in that way. I often see things before other people, and so I was excited to have the opportunity to drive it. But the bigger reason, this might sound cheesy, but in January I had this experience. I went to the museum in DC. Highly recommend it if you've never been. And in going through their exhibits and learning about the struggles of the past and how stories have been told, not just about blacks, but all minorities, women, this country has a really interesting past. I really realized that I'm living a bit of a life that, for some, you can take it for granted, but there are so many more people of color, and I'm hidden. And you can't see me, and I needed to put myself into a position where I could be seen, where I can show people that in just what I'm doing on any given day, you too have a chance to do this. This isn't impossible. It isn't difficult. You do need to have a path. You need to have a bit of a vision for yourself. Very much if I can do it, you can do it. And this opportunity sort of came up in front of me very unexpectedly. I wasn't seeking it out. Somebody recommended me for the position, and I thought it's perfect. It's both of those things that I just described, wrapped up with a nice, neat little bow. Being an insider can help in some respects because you know the system, you know the politics. But being an outsider can help because you don't know the systems and you're not limited by the politics. And so I think the way it'll help me, if I'm careful in my approach, I can express a balance of curiosity and concern for the things that I see that might be broken versus the things that I see that are perfect and should continue to exist, but maybe in a more modern fashion. And I think that being an outsider, people will pause and listen to me first and then question, rather than question me because they're blinded by the politics or distracted by the politics or the history. I'm hoping that's how it's going to play out. The biggest challenge we face is one of managing growth. I see NABA as having the potential to be quadruple its size. It gets to adopting some change and doing some things a little differently, reaching into some audiences we've never reached into before. So NABA historically works with and engages with HBCUs, which are historically black colleges and universities. That's not where I went to school, and there are many others like me out there. So, but that requires a different strategy, a different possibly approach, which might even require a different structure. Being open to exploring all of that, I think, is the biggest challenge that we face. But I also think that there's no rush. We're obviously doing something right. Let's keep doing the things we need to do right, and then start to slowly add in the new things. What do they say? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's exactly what I think we're going to do. I think we can reach out to members who we've never engaged with before. I think that we can also start working with corporate partners differently. Historically, NABA goes to corporate partners as a method of fundraising. But I see an opportunity to provide value to them in their own right, not necessarily as members, but if we can develop some thought leadership around what does diversity mean today the Black experience is more complicated today than it was when NABA was formed. Can we cover all of those voices, all the different shades of the Black voice, if you will? I also think that a lot of companies today recognize the importance of diversity, and they understand how to recruit. Where they're starting to see a breakdown is in retention. So what does the culture need to adapt to include all voices so that you feel heard? It's one thing to let me sit at the table, but if I'm not allowed to speak, if I don't know how to eat, if I don't know that rule, which one is bread and which one what, I'm going to feel reserved and engaging, and I might not stick around and stay. So I think inclusion, really understanding it, is the next step, and I think our organization has an ability to get out ahead of that and talk about it simply by talking more openly and transparently about the very things that might have been I think that we can get out ahead of it simply by talking about the things that were our experiences and letting our own experiences, the board, our corporate advisory board and our board of directors, so both boards, our volunteers and our staff, who are predominantly Black, if we can bring our own experiences into the conversation, it'll be more real and really connect and resonate. So I think we have tremendous opportunities to do that. Get away from platitudes. Let's talk openly, let's talk honestly, and let's try to provide some leadership about what tomorrow looks like, because 2044, I believe, is around when the minority will become the majority. And when that happens, it's the beginning of a fundamental shift in the way all races engage in this country. I can see that now, and I would love to position us to be successful to sort of lead that conversation so it's natural and it happens without hiccups or road bumps, at least in the profession of accounting. You could say enough is, there's always more to do, right? But I think that the conversation started where it needed to start. It's one thing if you hear concerns about diversity from the minority community, and we've come a long way. But if we go back 20 years, we might even only need to go back 10 years, a Black, a Hispanic, a Chinese, speaking of concerns, sometimes gets dismissed. Oh, you're imagining things. But when someone from the majority says, no, I see it too, that's very validating. So I think that the AICPA in creating the National Commission on Diversity and Inclusion took an important step to say, no, we're part of the problem, we can be part of the solution, and we need to be. So I think it's really important what they're doing. We could all be doing more. But I think that together, we're going to be able to, move the needle now. NABA hasn't had a president for almost 9 or 10 months, so I got some catching up to do. But I think the paving of the groundwork is done fantastically well, and I'm excited about sort of taking it to the next level and bringing NABA's thinking that I was just sharing with you into that conversation, because we haven't been significantly involved in that conversation up until now. But I come from the AICPA. And so I'm going to leverage my experience with the AICPA to change the way we engage with the commission. So I'm excited. I think that it has members who are not all Black, first of all. I think we have leadership that's not all Black. I think we have chapters in all major universities. I think we have chapters in community colleges. I think we have professional chapters in every city. And I think we have a network that is constantly measuring, to very small degrees, changes in the conversation to provide a feedback so we can be more responsive as an organization. What that looks like structurally, I don't know. But I do think that's part of when I say we could be quadruple the size. That's what I mean. I did an assessment a couple of years ago on strengths, and one of my top 5 strengths, it's called Via Me, by the way. Via ME, if you've ever heard of it, it's fabulous. It's a free assessment, you can do it online. And it tells you, ranks 25 characteristics of how you show up in the world. One of my top 5 was appreciation of beauty and excellence. So what inspires me? Anything beautiful. That's beautiful process, beautiful structure, beautiful systems. Look, we're in Hawaii. That ocean view right there inspires me. A beautiful heart, beautiful intent. I see beauty in everything, including the complexities and the struggle that I have to deal with and navigate in my role, or that a Black accountant has to deal with in a predominantly white firm. So it's a struggle, I get that. But there's beauty in that struggle. I also feel that it is, and this is going to sound a little cheesy, but when you work through difficulties, right? It's, what do they say? It takes a high heat to forge iron, right? That's true of the human experience. And, I see that distracted by it everywhere I go, in fact, and inspired by it. And I think that that's how I live every day. I wake up and I hear a podcast or I read an article. I look at one of your blogs and I think, wow, that guy really gets it. What can I take away from that? And then there's a moment of inspiration, and that moment of inspiration, I carry it with me through the day, and it infuses what I do. So maybe they're a little different. Well, I know I'm a little different because that's my husband. But I think that I'm excited, if for no other reason, that I can bring a different model, if you will, to what it is to lead an organization. Collaborative, open, inspired, flexible, adaptable, but focused.